Good afternoon and good morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you from World Tourism Network in cooperation with eTurbo News, our daily eTurbo News show. Today is Sunday, March 13th, and it's beautiful weather here in Hawaii. I wish the rest of the world would follow our weather suit. Not sure how it is in College Station, Texas, but there's a lot going on, of course, in the world. But let's start with the weather, Peter. How is it over there?
Well, we are following your suit. Um, it, it was a little cold, but now the weather is warmed up. It's nice brisk. It feels like a nice brisk fall day, even though it's springtime. And it's a little bit windy, but beautiful blue skies. And you can really feel the first whiff of spring coming. And so I think that this is really a good sign that maybe this terrible winter, not only winter of cold, but winter of war, winter of despair, winter of darkness. Maybe it's going to start breaking soon, and maybe we can start to see the flowering not only of nature, but also the flowering of peace, because that would be really a nice way to
And
start thinking about it.
and aren't we ready for it? But right now we're in the midst of probably the biggest crisis this world has ever faced, and we don't know the outcome of it. So that is a serious thing, and
Well,
we
it
don't
will
know
be
where
a
we're
major
heading.
it will be a major crisis if we have an atomic war. Of course, today we had missiles come very close to the Polish border, which is a NATO country, and Jake Sullivan, the security advisor for the president, or national security advisor, said that if any part of NATO is attacked, he would bring in Article 5. I don't know if that's really will happen or not, but at least there's been a lot of threatening. Of course, there's also threatening of a not only an atomic war, but of biological war or of some form of gas to be used against to kill people. So
And
none of those
Putin,
are
of
good.
course, is testing the waters. He wants
Yes,
to
of
know
course.
how far he can go. I encourage everyone. There's a documentary I watched last night, and unfortunately, I don't call the name, but it's on. If you have Prime Video from Amazon, that's where I found it, and it's one of the most popular right now. And it gives you a lot about the history of Putin of and how he thinks. And Peter, I tell you, it is scary. But
Yeah.
in any ways, I mean, the world is going on, at least for right now, and
Yes, it is. So
tourism is
far, they
actually,
have not blown up Europe.
and
Um,
tourism, of course, is has some positive outlook with Corona, at least I would say the attempt to bring Corona under control, even though in Europe we had record infection numbers, people are traveling and borders are open and everything seems to be normal. And it kind of becomes a calculated risk, I think, Corona. So people are not talking that much. And but then, of course, we're
well, I think
going
the
to,
Ukraine. I think we have to be careful because if the Ukraine were not going on right now, and there were not a war in the Ukraine, would that would Corona have more time in the media, or has the Ukraine actually just kind of snuffed out, other issues? For example, we have a big issue in the United States, a terrible issue of the fentanyl crisis, and the fact that we have literally enough fentanyl came in last year to kill every man, woman, and child in the United States. And we've had almost 100,000 young people die because of overdoses with fentanyl. And that has barely gotten media. And yet that's truly, that's a second war that we're not even beginning to talk about. So I think the Ukraine crisis has kind of knocked everything else off the
yeah, and
media.
that's the good thing out of this Ukraine crisis. It kind of beat COVID within a week. So
Yes.
it's probably the only positive thing. But eTurbo News and specifically World Tourism Network, we have been on the forefront when it comes to tourism and this crisis. We had Ivan Leptuga. He is the head of the Ukraine Tourism Association on our event several times.
Right.
Just for those that watched us, he's currently in Odessa, and we all know Odessa has not been directly hit
Yes.
by the Russians, but it is unfortunately expected. He was able to bring two of his four kids out of the country. They're in Moldova, and he, with his two elder sons, they're young teenagers, but they're over 18, of course, cannot leave the country and are ready to fight. So it's a very tragic situation.
Yes.
Today we had a very famous war journalist, a journalist from the United States.
Was,
He's from Arkansas. He got killed.
was murdered by the Russians.
He was murdered by the Russians. So this thing is definitely going on. Now, what we did at World Tourism Network, we started our Scream for Ukraine campaign. And actually, Ivan came up with this word, and I thought with this word, and I thought it's such a powerful word because the world should scream. We should scream out about it and see what we can do from our end to show solidarity and keep the tourism industry alive in this aspect. And what it will be, we don't know, but we started our campaign. You can see it at WTN.travel. Just click on the very prominent link for screen, or you can just go to any page on eTurbo News and your banner is right on top of it. Just
as much as I think we all should support this. I think we have to move from just screaming to doing. And so I think, the screaming is important because it gets out your emotions and your feelings, but the people in Ukraine are going to need our help. So one of the things I think that we ought to consider and ask all our members to join with us is to create a task force that will help Ukraine rebuild once the war is over. Because at some point the war will come to an end. There will be people living in Ukraine. They're going to need a lot of expertise. They're going to need a lot of help. And that help can be, they seem to be doing quite well with people donating money, and we sure should continue to do that. But the money can only take you so far. They're going to need, they have people who care. They're going to have people who come to support. And one of the things I think we should be speaking about is the developing of these types of task forces that can help in, for example, say tourism security. That's going to be a big issue for Ukraine. How do we get people there to feel secure in a post-war situation? So these are areas that we can be working on. We can be working on new forms of marketing, of rebuilding, of publicity, of ecology, of, well, I can't even say beautification because most of the cities are destroyed, but redesign. So as they rebuild the cities, do them in a way that they maintain the history of the past, but to create cities of the future. So they build back in a way that will be even more beautiful than what they had, a beautiful rebuilding.
Yeah, and Peter, of course, that is all important. And I think really what we wanted to do, this task force, I think it's an excellent idea, but keep it open. So when you go to our campaign at World Tourism Network, you can actually send ideas. You can send activities you have been involved in. I know SCOL, for example, as I mentioned in the beginning, is directly involved in helping refugees in Romania, that is called Romania. So there might be many such activities. Yesterday, I got feedback from WTTC about why not putting a portal together of people when people need to be located on both sides. That could be something what could be supported. And of course, we cannot do it alone. We can come up with ideas and we can try to locate others that can actually implement.
We can publicize those ideas. So together, we can work together. And one of the things that might be great is, I know that everyone listening, I'm sure, wants to become a member of the World Tourism Network. And then when they put in their membership or right on the Scream for Ukraine page, if they have an idea or if they have a talent, tell us your talent. Tell us what you can do well. And then we can go through those talents and say, hey, we can create this task force because we got 20 people who are willing to do this, or 20 people who understand how you bring back agriculture, or how you paint buildings, or whatever it happens to be. But we're going to need a brain trust. And the more brains we put together, the tourism world has suffered too much from COVID. I don't think it can afford to give money, but others can give money. But we can give ideas, concepts, and tourism is not only a way to rebuild economies, but it's also a way to give people hope, and it's a way to reconnect people around the world. And the Ukraine's going to need a lot of reconnecting.
Yeah, and tourism is about this personal relationship. If everyone had this personal relationship, there wouldn't be any war. That's why we say it's a custodian of peace. And of course, it's not going to work if you have a brutal dictator someplace who wanted to just destroy things because of his own ideas. But yes, Peter, I think this is a wonderful idea to collect this information. We can start small. Maybe we're going to make a difference. Maybe we don't make a difference, but it's definitely worth a try.
Well,
And
our job is to inspire people to think. And our job is to get people to come up with creativity. And if we do this, the tourism industry has faced now a lot of issues. We've faced the COVID issue, and hopefully we're getting somewhat in front of that issue and putting that behind us. We're facing terrible issues of worldwide inflation, and that's causing major price rises. Some really funny jokes, but lots of and it's good that people can smile. We're facing shortages around the world. We're facing supply chain issues, and all of these are directly impacting the tourism industry. We've seen a real falling of customer service. And again, these all become problematic. And so if we can begin to find hope, do something, show some way of creativity, then we won't solve every problem, but you can't go 1,000 miles until you take the first step. And so we need to begin to take those first baby steps. And then once we can crawl, then we can walk. Once we can walk, we can run.
Exactly. So at least we're showing our face and the good face of tourism. That's really what we wanted to do. And we're hoping to get everyone on board to work with us, or we work with them, because everyone has to work together on this. This is not something one organization, one country, or one entity can do. And at least we're ready to do our part and see where it goes. So basically, if you want to know about it, all you need to do is go to any page on eTurbo News. You see the banner right on top, or you go to WTN.travel and you see the link right on top. Just click on it, and you can contribute to it with ideas, and let us know who you are, and all of this.
If our listeners are members of an organization, anything that has to do with tourism, maybe it's a local travel organization or whatever, try to get your organizations to become part of World Tourism Network so that we can represent everyone together. And one of the big problems, I think, in the technical part of tourism is we tend to be so separate. We tend to be, we rarely work together in a way that we should. There's 10 million tourism organizations. And that's one of the reasons behind WTN, is trying to find some way that small and medium-sized businesses can come together and as private enterprise so that we can make a difference in public policy and public perception.
And that's why we're not really another organization. We are a network, and a network combines things. And that's really what our goal is. And so let's see where this all goes. We're going to have another busy, uncertain week in front of us. Let's face it, because you cannot run away from it. It is what it is.
Right.
And I guess we're going to talk.
I guess we'll see I think we're going to see one of two things next week. I'm going to be lecturing in, it's kind of the world coming together. I'm going to be in Guadalajara, Mexico, lecturing about medical tourism and the impact of COVID on tourism. So there's that side of it. But we're either going to see, I think, the beginnings of an outline of peace of what Russia and Ukraine can accept, or we're going to see a major spreading of the war that's going to impact a lot of Europe. And I don't think it'll be down the middle. I think it'll be one way or the other. So in that sense, you're really right. The world is kind of on a precipice, and we're going to be interesting to see if we move towards peace or we move towards a world war. And Let's hope it's the former and not the latter.
Well, everyone, thanks, Peter, and everyone else for listening. And I'm sure we're going to talk a lot more about it. And everyone enjoy the rest of your day. Be in touch. If there's anything you think you can contribute, you wanted to say, this is an open forum, just let us know.
And I can only... And as you know, in the United States, today we switched the time, it became daylight savings time. And that means that there's lots more light in the afternoon. So let's bring the light of sunshine now to the light of tourism.
Exactly. Well, I can only say aloha. This is one of the states where we didn't change the time. So things are getting even more confusing in our part of the world.
Yes.
But all the best, and we talk to you all soon.
All right. Howdy, as we say in Texas. Y'all be good and y'all come back.
Okay.
Bye-bye.